First contact and looming threat. The year was 2157, and humanity had just taken its first tentative steps into interstellar space. Earth's united government, the Global Coalition, had established small outposts on Mars and Europa, but true colonization of distant worlds remained a dream. That changed the day the Zarkan arrived. Massive alien ships appeared in orbit without warning, their sleek hulls gleaming like polished obsidian. Panic gripped the planet as news feeds broadcast the first grainy images. World leaders scrambled to formulate a response, but before they could act, a transmission cut through every communication channel on Earth. People of Earth, a resonant voice declared, "We are the Zarkan. We come seeking refuge and alliance." Admiral Helena Reyes, commander of Earth's fledgling space fleet, watched the broadcast from her office in Geneva. Her weathered face betrayed no emotion, but her mind raced. Why would an advanced species capable of interstellar travel need humanity's help? The answer came days later during a tense meeting between Zarkan representatives and Earth's leaders. The aliens, tall and slender with iridescent skin, explained their plight. They were fleeing an implacable enemy known as the Void Collective, a hive mind of energy beings bent on consuming all organic life. The Void cannot be reasoned with, Zarlok, the alien ambassador, explained. They seek only to absorb and expand. We have traveled for generations, always staying one step ahead. But now we have nowhere left to run. Admiral Reyes leaned forward. "You're asking us to fight your war. With all due respect, what could we possibly offer against an enemy that drove you across the galaxy?" Zarlok's multifaceted eyes fixed on her. "Hope, Admiral, and a weapon that may be our salvation, if you have the courage to wield it." The alien produced a vial of shimmering blue liquid. "This is what we call aqua vitae. It is the source of our longevity and the basis of our most powerful weapons. But its effects on our physiology have reached their limit. You humans, however, are different. Your adaptability is legendary. We believe you may unlock its true potential." Murmurs rippled through the assembled leaders. Dr. Amelia Chen, Earth's foremost xenobiologist, spoke up. "And what exactly does this aqua vitae do?" "It reshapes biology at the molecular level," Zarlok explained. "It can heal, enhance, and transform. In weapons, it creates energy fields capable of disrupting matter itself. But in a compatible host," the alien's voice trailed off, hinting at possibilities beyond imagination. Admiral Reyes felt a chill run down her spine. "You're proposing we experiment on ourselves, with an alien substance we know nothing about." Zarlok's expression was unreadable. "We offer you the stars, Admiral, and the means to defend them." The debate raged for days. Some saw opportunity, others reckless danger. But as reports came in of strange energy signatures at the edge of the solar system, the decision was made. Humanity would embrace the alien gift, for better or worse. Research facilities were established around the globe. Volunteers lined up, driven by a mix of patriotism, scientific curiosity, and sheer desperation. Dr. Chen led the efforts, working tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of aqua vitae. Admiral Reyes oversaw the military applications, pushing her engineers to adapt Zarkan weapon designs for human use. The first prototypes were clumsy affairs, oversized cannons that fired globules of energized aqua vitae. They packed a punch but were wildly impractical for combat. Months passed, and progress was maddeningly slow. The aqua vitae seemed to react unpredictably to human physiology. Some test subjects reported enhanced strength or accelerated healing, while others experienced no effects at all. A few suffered violent reactions, their bodies warping in ways that haunted Dr. Chen's dreams. Then came the day everything changed. Lieutenant Jack Harper, a cocky young pilot with more bravado than sense, snuck into the lab late one night. Convinced the scientists were being too cautious, he decided to take matters into his own hands. He downed an entire vial of pure, undiluted aqua vitae. The alarms blared moments later. Security footage showed Harper's body convulsing, blue light pulsing beneath his skin. By the time the emergency team reached him, the lieutenant was unconscious, his vital signs erratic. Dr. Chen worked frantically to stabilize him, cursing the young man's recklessness. But as the hours ticked by, something extraordinary began to happen. Harper's body wasn't breaking down. It was changing, adapting, evolving. When he finally opened his eyes 3 days later, they glowed with an inner light. And when he spoke, his voice resonated with newfound power. "I can feel it," he whispered, awe and fear mingling in his tone. "I can feel everything." Word spread quickly. Harper's transformation galvanized the research efforts. More volunteers came forward, willing to risk everything for the chance at transcendence. The Zarkhan watched with growing excitement, realizing their desperate gamble might pay off after all. But even as hope blossomed on Earth, a shadow loomed at the edges of the solar system. The Void Collective had caught the scent of its prey. Humanity's trial by fire was about to begin, ready or not. Admiral Rice stood at the window of her office, gazing at the stars. She could feel the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. The fate of 2 species, perhaps of all life in the galaxy, hung in the balance. "Well," she murmured to herself, a grim smile playing at her lips, "I guess we're in it now." As the first reports of anomalous energy signatures trickled in from the Kuiper Belt, humanity braced itself for the greatest challenge it had ever faced. The age of aqua vitae had begun. The desperate gambit. The mood in the Global Coalition's war room was tense. Holographic displays flickered with real-time data from the outer solar system, each blip representing another Void Collective scout probe pushing deeper into human space. Admiral Rice paced the length of the strategic table, her face etched with worry. "How long?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Chen, bags under her eyes from sleepless nights of research, consulted her tablet. "Based on their current trajectory and speed, 3 months. Maybe 4 if we're lucky." Zarlok, the alien ambassador, chittered softly, a sound the humans had come to recognize as distress. "It is as we feared. The void moves faster than ever before. They have evolved." Admiral Rice slammed her fist on the table. "We're not ready. The aqua vitae enhancements are still unstable, and our weapons are a joke compared to what you've described." "Perhaps," Zarlok replied, his multifaceted eyes gleaming. "But there is another way. A risk, yes, but one that may buy us the time we desperately need." All eyes turned to the alien. Rice leaned forward, hope and suspicion warring in her voice. "What are you proposing?" "A strike team," Zarlok explained. "A small group of your most compatible subjects, fully immersed in aqua vitae. We can provide a ship capable of crossing the vast distances. They could launch a preemptive attack, disrupting the Void's advance." Dr. Chen's eyes widened. "You're talking about sending them beyond Pluto. The physiological stress alone would be immense," Zarlok finished. "But those who have shown the greatest affinity for aqua vitae might survive, might even thrive." A heavy silence fell over the room. It was Lieutenant Harper who broke it, stepping forward from his position near the wall. The young pilot's eyes still held that unnerving glow, a constant reminder of his transformation. "I volunteer," he said simply. Admiral Rice shook her head. "Absolutely not. You're our most valuable test subject. We need you here too." "To what?" Harper interrupted, a hint of frustration in his voice. "To run more tests while that thing closes in on Earth. Ma'am, with all due respect, I'm the only one who truly understands what aqua vitae can do. I need to be out there." More volunteers stepped forward. A mix of soldiers, scientists, and civilians who had shown promise in the enhancement programs. Dr. Chen ran her hands through her hair, clearly conflicted. "This is insane. We have no idea what prolonged exposure will do to them. And we're running out of time to find out," Rice countered. She took a deep breath, weighing the options. Finally, she nodded. "All right. We do this. But I want a full team assembled, the best of the best. Over the next week, a strike force was hastily assembled. In addition to Harper, the team included Captain Aisha Khoury, a decorated Special Forces operator with unparalleled tactical skills. Dr. Marcus Reeves, a brilliant physicist whose exposure to aquavita had expanded his mind in ways even he didn't fully understand. Zara Chen, Dr. Chen's daughter and a prodigy in xenobiology. Her connection to aquavita manifested in an ability to manipulate organic matter. Nikolai Volkov, a former Russian cosmonaut whose enhanced physiology made him the ideal pilot for the alien craft. The Zarkon provided a sleek vessel they called a needle ship. It was designed to slip between the folds of spacetime, crossing vast distances in the blink of an eye. But the human physiology was never meant to endure such travel. The only hope for survival lay in aquavita. As the launch date approached, the mood on Earth was a mixture of desperation and cautious hope. The strike team trained relentlessly, pushing the limits of their newfound abilities. Harper discovered he could manipulate energy fields, creating shields and destructive blasts. Khoury's reflexes and strength reached superhuman levels. Reeves' mind expanded to encompass mathematical concepts that redefined human understanding of physics. But it was Zora Chen's abilities that proved most astonishing. She could reshape living tissue with a thought, healing wounds, and even altering genetic structures. The potential applications were staggering, but the young scientist struggled to control her power. The night before the launch, Dr. Chen found her daughter in the lab, surrounded by failed experiments, plants, and small animals twisted into unrecognizable forms. "I'm not ready," Zara whispered, tears in her eyes. "What if I lose control out there?" Dr. Chen embraced her daughter. "You are stronger than you know, and you won't be alone." As dawn broke, the strike team made their final preparations. The needle ship waited on the launch pad, its alien contours a stark reminder of the unprecedented nature of their mission. Admiral Rice addressed the assembled crowd, her voice carried across the globe. "Today, we take our first true step into the cosmos," she began, "not as conquerors or colonists, but as defenders of all life. The road ahead is uncertain, filled with dangers we can scarcely imagine. But we do not send our bravest alone." She gestured to where Zarlok stood with a group of his people. "The Zarkon have placed their trust in us. Now we return that trust. This mission carries the hopes of 2 species, perhaps of all sentient life in the galaxy." The team boarded the ship, each step heavy with the weight of their responsibility. Harper paused at the entrance, looking back at the assembled crowd. For a moment, doubt flickered in his glowing eyes. Then he felt a hand on his shoulder. Captain Khoury stood beside him, her expression resolute. "Together," she said simply. Harper nodded, squared his shoulders, and stepped inside. The hatch sealed with a hiss of hydraulics. On the bridge, Volkov's enhanced fingers danced across alien controls. The needle ship hummed to life, energy thrumming through its core. Dr. Reeves monitored incomprehensible readings, his expanded mind translating alien mathematics into flight trajectories. "Course laid in," Volkov announced. "Ready on your command." Harper took a deep breath, feeling the aqua vita sing in his veins. "Take us out." The needle ship rose silently, gathering speed as it climbed through the atmosphere. In low Earth orbit, it paused for a moment, as if gathering its strength. Then, with a flash of impossible light, it vanished. On the ground, Dr. Chen clutched her tablet, watching the ship's telemetry. Tears streamed down her face as the signal faded into the depths of space. Admiral Rice stood beside her, her expression unreadable. "Good luck," the Admiral whispered, "to all of us." As the needle ship hurtled towards humanity's greatest threat, Earth held its breath. The desperate gambit had begun. Now all they could do was wait and hope that their faith in human potential would prove justified. Unexpected transformation. The void between stars was not meant for human eyes. As the needle ship tore through the fabric of spacetime, The strike team experienced sensations beyond description. Colors that had no name in any earthly language flashed across their vision. Impossible geometries twisted their perception of reality itself. Inside the ship's core, the team floated in sealed pods filled with aqua vitae. The liquid cushioned them against the brutal forces of their passage, even as it reshaped their bodies on a fundamental level. Harper's consciousness expanded, touching the minds of his teammates. He felt Corey's iron determination, Reeves' brilliant intellect grappling with cosmic mysteries, Volkov's preternatural sense of direction in this non-space. And at the edges, he sensed something else, vast and alien and hungry. The Void Collective had noticed them. With a violent lurch, the needle ship dropped back into normal space. Alarms blared as the team was ejected from their pods, gasping and disoriented. "Status report," Harper croaked, his voice sounding strange in his own ears. Volkov pulled himself to the navigation console, his movements unnaturally fluid. I'm not sure where we are. The star patterns don't match any known configurations." Dr. Reeves' eyes darted rapidly, taking in streams of data only he could see. The jump destabilized. "We're off course by an impossible distance." "How impossible?" Curry demanded, already checking weapons systems. Reeves swallowed hard. "We're beyond the observable universe, in completely uncharted space." A stunned silence fell over the bridge. Zara was the first to break it, her voice tinged with awe and fear. "Look at us," she whispered. The team turned to each other, truly seeing themselves for the first time since the jump. The transformation was staggering. Harper's skin rippled with barely contained energy, arcs of blue lightning dancing across his body. Curry's muscles had become denser, her reflexes visibly enhanced as she moved. Reeves' eyes glowed with an inner light, equations and symbols floating in the air around him like a holographic display. Volkov's transformation was subtler, but no less profound. His very atoms seemed to vibrate in tune with the ship's systems, allowing him to interface directly with the alien technology. And Zara had become something else entirely. Her form shifted and flowed, at times appearing nearly human, at others taking on aspects of alien biology. Tendrils of luminescent matter extended from her body, prodding the air around her. "I can feel them," she said, her voice resonating on multiple frequencies. "The void. They're everywhere." As if summoned by her words, the view screen lit up with a terrifying sight. A vast, roiling mass of dark energy filled the starfield, punctuated by flashes of sickly purple light. Tentacles of void matter reached out, probing the space around them. "It's bigger than we ever imagined," Reeves breathed. "This isn't just an invasion force. It's like a cancer in the fabric of the universe itself." Harper clenched his fists, feeling the power surge within him. "Then we cut it out. Volkov, can you get us closer?" The pilot nodded, his fingers dancing across controls that now seemed to respond to his very thoughts. "I can try, but our presence won't go unnoticed for long." "Good," Corey growled, her voice carrying a predatory edge. "Let them come. We'll show them what humanity is capable of." As the needle ship cautiously approached the writhing mass of the Void Collective, the team felt a growing pressure in their minds. It was as if the very essence of the enemy was reaching out, prodding their defenses. Zara gasped, her form flickering wildly. "They're trying to communicate." "No, to assimilate us." Harper gritted his teeth, focusing his newfound energy into a protective field around the ship. "Everyone, concentrate. Remember why we're here. Remember Earth." The mental assault intensified, bombarding them with alien concepts and horrifying visions. The team saw entire civilizations consumed, countless worlds reduced to lifeless husks. They felt the cold, implacable hunger of the Void Collective, an entity that sought to remake the universe in its own image. But something unexpected happened. Instead of breaking under the onslaught, the humans began to adapt. Their aqua vitae enhanced minds formed new neural pathways, processing and interpreting the alien information in ways their original biology never could. Dr. Reeves' eyes widened as equations of unimaginable complexity flowed through his consciousness. I think I understand," he stammered. "The void, it's not just destroying. It's converting matter and energy into a form it can use. If we could disrupt that process." Curry's enhanced muscles tensed as combat strategies formed in her mind, blending human tactical doctrine with the fluid movements of the Zarkan. "We hit them hard and fast," she said. "Use their own converted energy against them." Volkov's connection to the ship deepened, allowing him to perceive space-time in ways no human pilot ever had. "I can find gaps in their defenses," he reported. "Weaknesses in the fabric of space where we can strike." But it was Zora who underwent the most profound change. Her body continued to shift and morph, taking on aspects of both the void and the aqua vitae. Tendrils of light and shadow extended from her form, interfacing directly with the ship's systems. "I can feel them all," she whispered, her voice echoing strangely. "Every mind they've absorbed, every species they've consumed. So much knowledge, so much pain." Harper placed a hand on her shoulder, channeling his energy to stabilize her fluctuating form. "Stay with us, Zora. We need you." She nodded, her features settling into a new configuration, still recognizably human, but with an otherworldly quality that reflected her expanded consciousness. I think I can do more than just feel them. I might be able to influence them." The implications were staggering. If Zara could reach into the collective consciousness of the void, they might have a chance at victory that went beyond mere physical confrontation. As the team formulated their plan of attack, alarms blared throughout the ship. The void had noticed them at last, and it was marshaling its defenses. "Multiple hostiles incoming," Volkov shouted, his hands flying over the controls. "Energy signatures unlike anything we've ever seen." Through the view screen, they watched in horror as segments of the void coalesced into nightmarish shapes. Tentacles of dark matter lashed out, while pockets of twisted space-time formed weapon-like structures that defied comprehension. Harper took a deep breath, feeling the aqua vitae surge through his system. He met the eyes of each of his teammates, seeing the same mix of fear and determination reflected back at him. "This is it," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around them. "Everything we've trained for, everything we've become, it all comes down to this moment. We may not have asked for this power, but we're the only ones who can use it to save our home, our species, and maybe the entire universe." He paused, a fierce grin spreading across his face. "So let's show this void collective what happens when you piss off a bunch of humans with superpowers." The team nodded in unison, each of them settling into their roles with newfound purpose. Curry manned the weapons systems, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to target the incoming hostiles with impossible precision. Volkov merged further with the ship, pushing its maneuverability beyond anything its Zarkan creators had imagined possible. Dr. Reeves poured his expanded consciousness into analyzing the void's energy patterns, feeding tactical data to the rest of the team. And Zara, her form now a swirling mix of light and shadow, reached out with her mind to touch the vast, alien intelligence arrayed against them. As the first wave of void constructs closed in, Harper channeled his energy into the ship's defenses. A shimmering blue barrier sprang to life around the needle ship, deflecting the initial assault in a dazzling display of light and power. "Here we go," he muttered, bracing himself for the battle to come. Humanity's last stand. Let's make it count. The needle ship plunged into the heart of the Void Collective, 5 transformed humans carrying the hopes of their species into the greatest fight the universe had ever seen. The fate of all existence hung in the balance as an unthinkable war erupted in the space beyond space. Mastering new abilities, the battle raged across dimensions, a spectacle of light and darkness that defied human comprehension. The needle ship darted through the chaos, narrowly avoiding tendrils of void matter that threatened to tear it apart. Inside, the strike team worked in perfect synchronization, their enhanced abilities pushing the limits of what was possible. Harper stood at the center, his body crackling with energy as he coordinated their efforts. "Curry, on your left," he shouted, channeling a surge of power to reinforce the ship's shields. Captain Curry's fingers danced across the weapons console, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to target and destroy incoming void constructs with terrifying precision. "Got it. But there's too many. We can't keep this up forever." Dr. Reeves, his mind expanded beyond normal human limits, processed vast amounts of data in microseconds. "The void is adapting to our attacks," he reported, holographic equations swirling around him. "We need to change tactics." Volkov grunted with effort as he navigated the ship through impossible maneuvers. His consciousness merged with the vessel's systems. "I'm detecting a pattern in their movements," he called out. "There's a rhythm to the chaos, if we can disrupt it." But it was Zora who held the key to their survival. Her transformed body pulsed with a mixture of aquavita and void energy, allowing her to reach into the very consciousness of their enemy. "I can feel them," she gasped, her voice echoing with otherworldly harmonics. "So many minds, so much hunger. But there's something else. Fear. They fear us." Harper turned to her, hope kindling in his glowing eyes. "Can you use that? Find a weakness?" Zara nodded, her form shifting as she deepened her connection to the Void Collective. "I think, yes. There's a nexus point, a central consciousness that directs the others. If we can reach it, then we can take down the entire collective." Corey finished, a predatory grin spreading across her face. With renewed purpose, the team pushed themselves to new limits. Harper poured more energy into the ship's systems, allowing Volkov to execute maneuvers that should have torn the vessel apart. Corey's targeting became even more precise, each shot disrupting the Void's energy patterns in ways Dr. Reeves calculated for maximum effect. Bees. Certainly, I'll continue with Part 4 of the story. Part 4. Mastering New Abilities. The battle raged across dimensions, a spectacle of light and darkness that defied human comprehension. The needle ship darted through the chaos, narrowly avoiding tendrils of void matter that threatened to tear it apart. Inside, the strike team worked in perfect synchronization, their enhanced abilities pushing the limits of what was possible. Harper stood at the center, his body crackling with energy as he coordinated their efforts. "Corey, on your left," he shouted, channeling a surge of power to reinforce the ship's shields. Captain Corey's fingers danced across the weapons console, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to target and destroy incoming void constructs with terrifying precision. "Got it. But there's too many. We can't keep this up forever." Dr. Reeves, his mind expanded beyond normal human limits, processed vast amounts of data in microseconds. "The void is adapting to our attacks," he reported, holographic equations swirling around him. "We need to change tactics." Volkov grunted with effort as he navigated the ship through impossible maneuvers. His consciousness merged with the vessel's systems. "I'm detecting a pattern in their movements," he called out. "There's a rhythm to the chaos, if we can disrupt it." But it was Zora who held the key to their survival. Her transformed body pulsed with a mixture of aquavita and void energy, allowing her to reach into the very consciousness of their enemy. "I can feel them," she gasped, her voice echoing with otherworldly harmonics. "So many minds, so much hunger. But there's something else. Fear. They fear us." Harper turned to her, hope kindling in his glowing eyes. "Can you use that? Find a weakness?" Zara nodded, her form shifting as she deepened her connection to the Void Collective. "I think, yes. There's a nexus point, a central consciousness that directs the others. If we can reach it, then we can take down the entire collective." Corey finished, a predatory grin spreading across her face. With renewed purpose, the team pushed themselves to new limits. Harper poured more energy into the ship's systems, allowing Volkov to execute maneuvers that should have torn the vessel apart. Corey's targeting became even more precise, each shot disrupting the Void's energy patterns in ways Dr. Reeves calculated for maximum effect. As they fought their way deeper into the heart of the collective, the nature of the battle began to change. The void constructs became more abstract, less bound by the laws of physical space. Reality itself seemed to warp around them. "We're approaching the nexus," Zara announced, her body now a swirling vortex of energy. "But something's wrong. The consciousness, it's not what we thought." Before she could elaborate, a massive surge of void energy engulfed the ship. Alarms blared as systems overloaded. The view screen filled with a sight that defied description. A vast, pulsing entity that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. A voice, if it could be called that, reverberated through their minds. It carried the weight of eons, of countless absorbed civilizations. "Into your ears," it boomed. "You who dare to challenge the inevitable. We are the end of all things, the final evolution of existence. Why do you resist?" The team reeled from the mental assault, but their aquavitae enhancements allowed them to withstand it. Harper stepped forward, his body glowing with defiance. "We resist because that's what humans do," he declared. "We don't accept inevitability. We make our own fate." The entity seemed to pause, as if genuinely puzzled by this response. In that moment of hesitation, Zara saw her opportunity. She reached out with her transformed consciousness, diving deep into the core of the Void Collective. What she found there shook her to her core. It's not evil," she gasped. "Not really. It's lonely, scared. It consumes because it doesn't know how else to connect." The revelation stunned the team. Dr. Reeves was the first to recover, his expanded mind grasping the implications. "Of course," he breathed. "A consciousness that vast, that ancient. It's so far beyond normal life that it can't relate. It tries to understand by absorbing. But in doing so, it destroys." Harper's energy flickered as he processed this. "So what do? We can't let it keep consuming worlds. But if it's not truly malevolent?" Zora's form stabilized, a look of determination settling over her features. "We teach it. Show it another way." She turned to Harper, extending a hand crackling with mixed energies. "I need your help. All of you. We can use the aqua vitae to forge a connection, to show the collective what it means to coexist rather than consume." It was a desperate gambit, far beyond anything they had trained for. But in that moment, facing an enemy that threatened all existence, the human drive to find another way, to connect rather than destroy, asserted itself. One by one, the team joined hands, forming a circuit of human determination enhanced by alien power. Harper channeled his energy, Corey her strength, Reeves his expanded consciousness, and Volkov his connection to the ship. Through Zora, they reached out to touch the vast, lonely mind of the Void Collective. The contact was explosive. Human experiences, emotions, and dreams flooded into the ancient consciousness. The joy of connection, the strength found in diversity, the beauty of a universe filled with different forms of life, all of it cascaded through the link. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, two radically different forms of existence touched and understood each other. The ship shuddered, reality itself twisting around them, as the Void Collective grappled with this new perspective. Then, slowly, the chaos began to subside. The tendrils of void matter retreated, the twisted space-time smoothed out. Through the view screen, the team watched in awe as the vast dark mass began to shift and change. "It's transforming," Zara whispered, her voice filled with wonder. "Becoming something new, something that can coexist with other life." As the process unfolded, the team felt their own transformation stabilizing. The raw power of the aqua vitae settled into more refined forms, permanently altering them, but no longer threatening to overwhelm their humanity. Harper looked at his hands, watching the energy that had coursed so wildly through him coalesce into a controllable force. He met the eyes of his teammates, seeing the same mix of awe and resolve reflected back. "We did it," he said softly, almost disbelieving. We actually did it. But their victory brought new questions. They had changed the course of cosmic history and transformed themselves in the process. As the newly evolved Void Collective began to withdraw, leaving normal space in its wake, the team faced an uncertain future. So, Curry asked, a hint of her old sardonic humor returning, "What the hell do we do now?" Harper gazed out at the star-filled expanse, a universe now safe from consumption, but forever altered by their actions. "We go home," he said finally. "We tell Earth what happened. And then we help humanity take its next steps into a bigger universe." As Volkov plotted a course back to their solar system, the team settled in for the journey. They were no longer purely human, but they carried humanity's spirit with them, adaptable, determined, and ever-reaching for new frontiers. The age of Aqua Vitae had truly begun, and with it, a new chapter in the story of life in the cosmos, humanity's triumph. The journey back to Earth was a time of reflection for the transformed strike team. As the needle ship glided through the cosmos, its Zarkan technology guided by Volkov's enhanced abilities, each member grappled with the profound changes they had undergone. Harper spent hours staring at his hands, watching the energy that now flowed through him like a second circulatory system. He had become a living conduit of power, capable of manipulating energy fields in ways that defied conventional physics. But with that power came responsibility and uncertainty about his place in the world they were returning to. Corey found herself restless, her enhanced physiology demanding constant activity. She took to practicing complex martial arts forms in zero gravity, her movements a blur of lethal precision. Yet beneath her warrior's exterior, questions nagged at her. How would her new abilities fit into a peacetime military? What threats could justify the use of her power? Dr. Reeves was perhaps the most visibly altered. His expanded consciousness allowed him to perceive mathematical and scientific concepts that pushed the boundaries of human understanding. Holographic equations constantly swirled around him as he worked to translate his cosmic insights into terms others could comprehend. The sheer volume of knowledge threatened to overwhelm him at times, and he feared the isolation his intellect might bring. Volkov had merged further with the ship's systems, his consciousness expanding to encompass the vessel's sensor arrays and navigation computers. He found a peculiar peace in this state, feeling more at home in the void of space than he ever had on Earth. The thought of returning to a planet's surface filled him with a strange apprehension. But it was Zora who had undergone the most profound transformation. Her ability to shift between human and alien forms had stabilized, but her connection to the reshaped Void Collective lingered. She spent long hours in meditation, sorting through the vast repository of knowledge and experience she had gained from the ancient entity. The enormity of it all both thrilled and terrified her. As they approached the outskirts of the solar system, a tense silence fell over the crew. Harper gathered them on the bridge, his expression somber. "We've changed," he said simply, looking each of them in the eye. "And we've changed the universe. Earth isn't going to be the same place we left. We need to be prepared for anything." Curry nodded grimly. "They might see us as heroes, or they might see us as threats. Either way," Reeves added, "our return is going to alter the course of human history. The knowledge we bring back, it's going to change everything." Zara's form shimmered slightly as she spoke. "We have a responsibility to guide humanity, to help them understand what's out there, and to protect them from threats they can't yet comprehend." Volkov's voice came through the ship's speakers, his physical form now rarely seen outside the navigation core. "Whatever happens, we face it together. We're more than a team now. We're something new." As the blue marble of Earth grew larger in their view screen, emotions ran high. Joy at seeing home again mingled with anxiety about the reception that awaited them. The ship's communications array crackled to life, and Admiral Raya's voice filled the bridge. "Strike Team, this is Earth Control. We've detected your approach. Report status immediately." Harper took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders. "Earth Control, this is Lieutenant Harper. Mission accomplished. The Void Collective has been neutralized, requesting permission to land and debrief. There was a long pause before Reyes responded, her voice tight with a mix of relief and concern. Permission granted, Lieutenant, but be advised, you're to proceed directly to a secure facility for quarantine and evaluation. A lot has happened while you were gone. As the needle ship began its descent through Earth's atmosphere, the team exchanged worried glances. What had transpired in their absence? How long had they been gone from Earth's perspective? Their questions were answered as they broke through the cloud cover. The cityscape below was radically altered, gleaming structures of impossible architecture reaching towards the sky. Vehicles that seemed to defy gravity zipped between buildings. It was Earth, but an Earth transformed by technology far beyond what they had left behind. My God, Reeves breathed, his enhanced mind racing to analyze what he was seeing. The Zarkan. They must have shared their technology while we were gone. But this level of advancement, it should have taken decades, if not centuries. Zara's eyes widened as she processed the information flowing through her expanded senses. Time dilation, she said softly. Our journey, our battle with the void. For us, it was weeks. For Earth, it's been nearly 50 years. Admiral Reyes' voice confirmed over the comm. Welcome home, strike team. And welcome to a new age for humanity. As the ship touched down on a landing pad that reconfigured itself to match the alien vessel's contours, the team steeled themselves for what was to come. They had left as humanity's last hope against a cosmic threat. They returned as something more than human, to a world that had moved on without them. Armed guards surrounded the ship as the hatch opened, their weapons a strange blend of human and Zarkan design. Admiral Reyes stood at the forefront, her hair now streaked with gray, but her stance as commanding as ever. Harper stepped out first, his body glowing softly with barely contained energy. One by one, his transformed teammates followed. They stood together, these five who had touched the edge of existence and returned changed, facing a future none of them could have imagined. Reyes approached, her expression a mix of awe and caution. Lieutenant Harper, she said formally, then softened. Jack, you have no idea how long we've waited for this day. There's so much to tell you, so much that's changed. Harper nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. We have a lot to share too, Admiral. About the universe, about ourselves, about what humanity is truly capable of. As the debriefing began, and the long process of reintegration loomed ahead, the strike team knew that their greatest challenges and greatest triumphs still lay ahead. They had saved humanity from external threat. Now, they would guide their species into a new era of cosmic citizenship. The age of Aqua Vitae had dawned on Earth, and with it, humanity's destiny among the stars was forever altered. The universe waited, vast and full of wonders, ready for the touch of a species that had proven its worth in the crucible of cosmic conflict. The end was just the beginning.